regarding deliverance.
Preparation.
Yes.
So in preparation, if you want to go into battle, you got to be prepared. If you're gonna go fight something, you don't go without your boxing training first, or whatever. So you prepare yourself for what you're gonna do ahead of time. So I always, when I go into any place in a foreign place or anything, I know I'm gonna do something with encountering and fighting. I prepare myself. So I fast, pray, and prepare myself for the altar. So when you prepare for yourself for the altar, if you read in the priest in Moses' day, they prepared themselves.
Mm.
They sustained from their wives for 3 days before they would go in. There were certain places in there and whether what war and what they did and how they presented themselves that before they went into the temple. You have to prepare yourself um, to be ready. Jesus said this thing doesn't come out with much prayer and fasting. So you have to prep yourself for what you're about to do.
Mm.
So if you want to be be watch God's hand, because that's basically what you're doing is watching God move.
Yeah.
You've got to prepare yourself, and then you also got to know that God is with you.
Mm.
That's the key. David ran to the giant, not because, and everybody else was scared because they looked on their own strength, and he was much bigger. He knew how to war, and they were scared of him. And they tried to give David the same fear, saying, "What are you doing? You're this, you're that. We look at your strength."
Mm.
He said, "No, you're not getting what I'm saying. The Lord is with me. He delivered me." He didn't say I killed the bear, I killed the lion. He said God delivered me from the bear, and God delivered me from the lion.
Yeah.
And so
really
he
good.
understood what was with them. And just like Moses when he went in, the ten said I have an evil report because they didn't say God was with them. That was their evil report. And so that whole generation died because they agreed with the 10. Because God couldn't use them because they couldn't see that God was with them. And you can't defeat your enemies unless God's with you.
Right.
So my enemies defeat me because they had. That's why I came to Christ is because my enemies had defeated me. And I was beat up and what kind of life is this that I'm living?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was beat up. And life in this world will beat you up. And so but that brings you to the point of desperation. And when you do encounter God, you become hungry for God. I stay hungry, and I ask God to keep me hungry for You. So I pray, I seek, I meditate, I listen. Some things, even go times you make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when you make a mistake, God gets mad at you and doesn't talk to you for a while.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, He did that to Abraham too as well. He didn't talk to Abraham for 7 years.
Huh.
So there was a space. So you also gotta sometimes deal with that. Sometimes you don't make a mistake or whatever. It depends on your maturity level as well. I mean, Abraham never made that mistake again after he did the first time.
Which mistake was that?
He didn't believe God for
Oh, for a kid, so
yeah,
he made Ishmael.
yeah. Well, he made it because God quit talking to him.
Oh,
So God didn't talk to him for 7 years.
and that's why he made Ishmael.
Hey, that's one of the reasons he allowed his wife to talk to his ear and steal his faith of what God promised him.
Wow. Huh. Interesting.
So, and that's why Ishmael was created. But because she didn't believe, she laughed. It was laughter when he came around, and so you have to believe the impossible. The impossible is I don't even know what this thing's all about. Let's go. He didn't know how Goliath fought, but he said he ran to him. Yeah, he didn't even know his fighting techniques or anything. He just had the opportunity. He knew God was with him, and he ran to meet that challenge. So let's do it. And he didn't know how to do it. He just had an idea, man. This is how I've done things before, so let's try this. That's basically my lesson on that. And you can do all things through the anointing when you're working. That means when you're working with God, not in your own strength or power. A lot of times we try to do it on our own strength. Receives what we needed to do to go to battle. So we didn't receive the first two challenges, so we go into fight Goliath. without the two challenges first.
Oh,
So that there's growing and challenges and challenges.
I see.
If you
Step by step.
step by step, so I read behind because I'm always interested in great ministers of history, and one of them is uh, Reese Howe. Reese Howe. After I read the book, I was like, "Oh Lord, don't challenge me like that." But that
Oh,
man had challenged where he would go into the prayer room, and he built a university and raised the money for it, and never asked a soul.
wow.
He just asked God
Wow.
in the prayer room,
That's
and
amazing.
people gave to him. But it took him a level of faith upon faith,
Yeah.
line upon line, to get that level. It all depends, because I've seen children um, do mighty things.
Hmm. Hmm.
It also depends on your faith level, man. I see
Yeah.
children go in there, boom, yeah, cast out a devil, nothing. Just
Yeah.
okay, touch.
Right?
You're right. So
Yeah.
I've seen some crazy things, but so it's not always necessarily maturity, but it's also a faith mixed experience. And it doesn't have to be faith sometimes. If I read Randy Clark, Randy Clark's book, I do recommend that. Um, Thrill of Victory, Agony of Defeat. That's a good book right there. That I highly recommend. Especially if you know that God's got you in a healing ministry, just to read that book, because it has the guidelines and conditions where healing manifests is real easy, and how to prepare for it. But not necessarily it happens all the time, and there's always variables, and there's always different ways.
Hmm.
So that's what I do as far as my life is I study to make myself approved
Hmm.
and acceptable unto God.
Yeah.
And so I want to know, like I said, how how can my compassion touch?
Hmm.
Because if
Yeah.
you look, Jesus had compassion and he healed them all.
Right.
So every time he moved, he had compassion and
Yeah.
he healed. And so we have to have that same love and compassion. And so that's what it's about. You want the
Hmm.
deliverance. Deliverance is because you don't want that person to be in torment no more.
Right.
And
Yeah.
God's giving you the power because He's with you
Yeah.
to do such a thing. And then I saw today, I saw many eyes healed. I saw
Hmm.
teeth healed.
Hmm.
And I seen jaws, ears, and I for teeth, I was encouraged that I called him a evangelist friend of mine that I told him to pray for me because I'm going to be here this couple weeks, and this man is called God's dentist.
Hmm. Wow.
So being with him, I learned to pray for teeth.
Yeah.
I would have never prayed for teeth if I haven't met him. And I gave him some testimonies of people being healed from teeth. And I said, it's because I met you, God lined me up with you, that I even pray for teeth.
Hmm.
And so,
Hmm.
it is an orchestrate of God putting you in with certain people that grows you
Yeah.
and helps you um, mature,
Hmm.
helps you stay in line, helps you be accountable. Um, and another thing I learned to pray for is self control.
Hmm.
Self control has a lot of things to do with you.
Hmm.
So my God, uh, it's a spirit, so you can call on it. So you can receive a spirit of self control.
Hmm.
Because in our own self control, we can't do it. But
Hmm.
you can cut things off with the God's help.
Yeah.
And so that helps in helping deliver, because I can't deliver somebody I'm in myself.
Hmm. Wow.
So self control is a big thing in your life. You can't fast without self control,
Yeah.
and because fasting, um, a lot of times, it will hurt you. You afflict yourself,
Yeah.
and so, but it's also,
Hmm.
it strengthens the spirit when you weaken the flesh,
Hmm.
and that's why I got on that.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Tim.
You will.